Welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday, our last Friday, almost at the end of the term. So today is going to be an open, brainstorming, pitching, debugging class. So we can dig into data sets. We can give feedback on stories, debug issues that you're encountering, track down data sets, whatever you all want. Does anyone want to? Kira, you look like you have something to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a visualization question. If I can just share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I have this like line graph going, and everything looks correct except for like these like 28 through 42 numbers are the ones I want, and for some reason I'm getting this like 0 to 1 scale in addition, and I like honestly have no idea why. I've like tried commenting out a bunch of lines and a whole bunch of stuff, and I just like have no idea why it's doing that.
All right, so let's dig into it. So you're using matplotlib, it looks like. Okay. So let's see. Can you scroll down a little? So I see. So that looks good.
And actually, I just noticed as well that I don't have the X label.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can. Okay, so the X label, I think we could probably get. Oh, interesting. It's not showing up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because the Y one is, and it's the exact same code.
Okay. Do you mind if let's see, so how do we want to debug this? So one option would be you could give me control of your screen, or you could share, another would be sharing your notebook.
Yeah, if you want to control my screen, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay, so okay, so first of all, just to make sure that I have, okay, wonderful. Oh, so you just want to okay.
Yeah, I just want lines of all these. So this might be like a really over complex way to do that.
Okay, and do you have Seaborn? Yes. Okay, so I wonder if oh, right, you're using Seaborn. Well, one thing to check. Let's see. I wonder if this will work. It probably won't, but it'd be cool if it did. I doubt it will work. Oh, right. We need data. Yeah. Oh, well. Okay. Oops. Okay. So here's one thing. Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think there's an easier way to do this. Okay. So I see what you're doing. What's the twin X for?
Yeah, so this
I
is
don't
like
think
the
I
way I
used it.
did it for the bachelor last week. And I just like found code online that it said that you should do that to like tell it that it's using the same x-axis.
Uh-huh.
Don't know if you need to, but
Do you want the y-axes to be the same every time, or?
yeah, I want them to just be like on one graph all together. It's just like a couple of different lines showing different columns.
Got it. Yeah, so I think, I wonder if this will just work. I think it probably will. Let's see, what are the other things? Vegan. Oh, vegan Monday. Okay, I see. And then, oh, fully meatless.
Yeah, it's basically different scenarios for like if everyone did meatless Monday, how would emissions change? Like if everyone went fully meatless, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I think this will probably work.
Oh, cool.
And then we can set the oops, the Y label to be, oh, but you want it to be emissions actually.
Yeah, so I did want it to be like CO2 equivalent in billion metric tons to like give a little units in there. But I can also just change the name of the column if that's easier.
Nope, that's totally fine. Yeah, so let's see if this, yeah, there we go. And then the reason this weird thing gets printed out is because of this last line. So to suppress printing, you can just put a semicolon and then it'll look normal.
And is there a way to put a title as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Just like plot dot title.
Yep, exactly. And then, oh, I forgot to suppress the output. Did you already have, oh, great, worldwide projected emissions. And then you can also change the, sorry, font size.
Okay.
And then if you wanted this to be what you wanted, and then yeah, so you can do the same customizations there.
And can I make the whole graph a little bit bigger too, like with like the fig size parameter, or is that?
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, same as you did. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. Oh wait, and the
Sure.
legend. Do I do that the same way as well?
Yep. Yeah, so
I just had it there, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
Oh, where did it go?
Down a little
Sorry.
bit. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yep.
fine.
There we go. And then you just want to suppress the output there.
Awesome.
And then you can play with the font size too if you wanted. I don't know if you did, but if you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Cool.
that's perfect. Thank you. Awesome.
Sure. Oh yeah, and the years are in order, so perfect.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right, that was, yeah, cool. Glad we could debug that. Yeah, I haven't used TwinX, but I think that is, so I just like looked it up as you posted it, and it looks like that's mainly used if you have like two plots with the same x-axis, but you want different y-axes. And then you want to put like one y-axis on one side and 1 on the other side.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense because that's what I did last week. So then that's why that was in there.
yeah, so that's a cool style of plot, but not, yeah, if you just like call plots in a row, it'll automatically cycle through your colors and, you know, plot them all on the same axis. So.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so what else have you got?
We met earlier. I think I remember someone else saying, oh yeah, was it you, Isha, that you had a question?
Yeah. So I've been looking for like data for this flexitarian project. A lot of what I'm finding is like just like different companies like summary statistics of what their data actually says. I can't like access any of their actual data because it's like all like market research and consumer insights, and like I feel like that's like monetarily protected. But so I was just wondering like if like I just put like summary like stats into data frames, if that would work as like analyses that I can make visualizations based off of.
Yeah, that seems fine. Just as long you should just make sure you document like where you found the number. So if it's like some like Beyond Meat's website or something, then just you know, paste in the website, say like here's the source. You could also take a screenshot if you wanted to document. Like I'm sure they're very reputable, but like if they updated their stats at some, you know, for in 5 years, like the 2026 statistics might be different from the 2021 stats. So the same link might not always contain the same exact numbers, but
okay. That's good.
Yeah. The other sometimes the other thing that sometimes happens is like if when companies post stats, they'll sometimes have like a little footnote that says where they got the information, and that can sometimes point to a source. But if it's like their own proprietary market research, they might not want to publish that data set. So
I haven't found like any like raw data sets. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we could try to find one. I don't know that I'm going to have more luck just Googling off the top of my head than you've had if you've dug into it, but let's see. Oh, they're like, so if you click on science, they're like hiring data scientists, but not, they don't actually have the data. Okay. Interesting. I'm looking at impossible foods. Okay. Well, it doesn't give us numbers. Interesting. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if you have found summary statistics, then that's, or you know, like if it's like 8 out of 10 something, you know, you could just kind of round, and as long as you cite your sources and all that, I think it's fine.
Okay. Can I show you like something I was looking at?
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, this is a YouNow survey that like it has like, it's like they put out like on average, how did this taste, and like everyone rated it. So like this is kind
Huh.
of the best that I've found for like actual like data sets.
Yeah. Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, but they don't like actually release the actual responses.
It's also interesting the percentages don't always add up to 100. So
Yeah.
there's like some rounding, I guess.
I guess.
Huh. Might be possible to like improve a little because they give you the unweighted N. So like, I'm guessing that's the number of people they surveyed. So if you like multiply, well, let's say you want like the number of let's see. So if you take any particular category, so the total number of respondents who rated whatever this plant burger is as delicious, so that's 26%. So if you multiply 483 by 0.26, that's gonna give you like, you know, a non-integer value. So it's like 125 point something. And then, let's see, so what do you want to infer from that? So I guess we could say, did they round up or down? So so probably they rounded down because like 0.263 would bump you up to like, let's see, well, yeah, so 0.264 is like 127 people. 0.263 is 127. 0.262 is 100. So you can kind of like figure out, okay, how many people are there? And then you have the breakdowns by gender, age, and race. So then there might be something you could do to like try to get decimals on some of these percentages if you wanted, because you know that the actual percentages have to, I assume they have to add up to 100%.
Right.
I guess it's possible if someone didn't respond, they could add up to less than 100%, but I don't see how they could actually add up to like 101% and be right.
Yeah.
But yeah, or you could just like enter this into a data frame, or which is a little tedious. There's probably like a character, I don't know if Adobe or like Acrobat or other, you might be able to just like use a character recognition. If you like print this as a PDF and then copy the table, you might be able to get it into a convenient format without.
So I think,
oh, it already has it as, oh, great.
I think I can like select it.
Okay, great. So you don't have to type it in manually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great. Cool. Might be, so like if you do end up doing some like data wrangling, it might be nice to upload, like if you had an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file that with the data that's going into your data frame, rather than just citing, here's the source of this like PDF that's in a kind of inconvenient format. So that way, like, you know, if someone else from the class or a future student wants to dig into data sets more, they don't have to like repeat the kind of copying and pasting into a spreadsheet for like, you know, steps. Cool. All right. Yeah, that looks neat. It looks like you're finding some interesting stuff. So it looks like, well, so So who is in the like flexitarian group? Is it a full class project again? Or yeah, okay. All right, cool. That's nice. So it looks like there's something on emissions, so like the environmental impact maybe, and then taste, like, does faux meat taste better, worse? Are you doing anything with nutrition? Like, is it healthier or less healthy? I remember reading something, I think it was, I forget if it was like Impossible Foods or Beyond Meat, one of the companies. I remember reading something about like the burgers taste like whatever, I forget what the like key ingredient is, but like the fake meat burgers taste really similar to regular hamburgers, but they're also like equally unhealthy. So like from a nutrition standpoint, they're, it's tough, it's a tough sell, but the not killing cows and environmental impacts seem like positives. And then I don't know how the pricing compares, but that could be another dimension. But presumably, as it's still like a relatively new thing to have good tasting fake meat that in that it like tastes similar to real meat. And so presumably the pricing might go down over time, and so I don't know, that might or might not be interesting. Okay. Yeah, so what would be helpful to talk about with the story? Do you want to just like spend time working on it, or like, do you want to debug anything, make some kind of plot?
We've kind of been like playing around with how to like present the story. We want to try something a little bit different with this one. Nathan and I have been like working on that. We're like trying to structure the narrative. And so, yeah, I don't know, Nathan, if you wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Hannah, did you say the storyline?
Yeah, like how we like were thinking about making it a bit different than just like pulling clips from like different visuals online.
Yeah. So what we talked about like earlier this meeting was like we had like that, like I was still like thinking like maybe about like the whole like marketing, like delivering like the product kind of thing. But then Hannah had like a really good idea of like making it more of like an individual kind of like story basis. So where I might be like the main character, starting off like maybe like living in a place that isn't the most like vegan like positive place, and then like I would like go to college, arrive there and be like, oh, like at Dartmouth, like here, like going on hikes is like got me like really like appreciative of all the environment, and it'd be kind of like a live action of like me kind of going through all of that, and then realizing like, okay, like yeah, I think like I really do want to like help the environment, but I might not be willing to like give up like some of like my favorite meals because like it's nice to have a treat every once in a while. So then that's kind of like where we bring in the flexitarian whole argument. And I find like maybe some like resources or like some like information that like helps justify like why maybe becoming a flexitarian would be like a good idea.
Huh, that's a cool direction. So are you thinking of it as like telling the story as if you're kind of doing research and then you're like kind of showing figures and graphs and stuff as you're going? Or?
Hannah had a cool idea with like a whiteboard. Hannah, do you want to talk about that like a little bit more?
Yeah, so like I had this like idea of like featuring Nathan as like the main character of the story because it seems like it's like kind of authentic, but then we could also like make some aspects up to like help with the data stuff, like exactly where he's from. We could fit it to like how the map looks and stuff like that. But I thought it would be kind of funny because if the story was like based, like if his like experience like going to flexitarianism was like based at Dartmouth, then it could be kind of like school themed, and like he could be like going around to the different like cafeterias and stuff, and then eventually like end up in like a classroom with a whiteboard, and we could like have the data showing up on the whiteboard next to him as he like talks about it, which I thought would be really interesting. I'm not sure like if I have the capabilities of doing that editing wise, or if Nathan does, but we like can definitely try, and I think it would be really fun to try to
Cool.
like
Yeah, that sounds
make it a
neat.
little different.
Cool. I like it. I think it sounds like a cool idea. Yeah, and you know, like since we're close to the end of the term, I think like, you know, if you kind of if the video doesn't come out like exactly as you're imagining, if you like kind of describe how you were thinking of a particular scene, like if there's some, like let's say you can't get access to a classroom or you're not on campus, and like you could kind of fake it, and then, you know, it'll give the impression, and, you know, we'll kind of have to use our imaginations, and that'll be fine. Cool. Yeah, like I think particularly in like during the, you know, pandemic circumstances, I think like, you know, not everything is always going to be perfect, and you know that's true of non-pandemic times also, but you know, I think we may have to imagine some stuff, which is fine. That sounds neat. And then, so are you going to tell it in first person or like third person, like following?
Like first person, here's my experience, and like I don't know, I thought it would be kind of funny, and then you could be like, for my data science class, like I'm literally looking at this like a kind of like funny and authentic way of telling.
Yeah, so kind of meta. Yeah, that's nice. Cool, I like it. I think you should go with it. Yeah. And then like, is the theme like kind of self-discovery, how you can do better for the world, or like, is the message like directly like we should all be flexitarian, or
I don't know if there's necessarily like we're gonna make like an explicit message at the end. Maybe we will, but like I think it also just be compelling. Just the story itself would like be kind of like the journey of an individual, like realizing that like a flexitarian lifestyle like is like a good idea for that person. I don't know.
Cool.
And kind of too with like, especially like with Kira's graphs, like kind of just showing how like small changes can make a big difference. And so it's kind of like Nathan's kind of like promoting the flexitarianism in the sense of like kind of, you know, an observer might be like, oh, that's interesting. Like that seems doable. And then kind of seeing the environmental impact and realizing like, oh, hey, like I could change my habits and like collectively we could make a bigger difference. So I feel like it's kind of, that might be a take home message, but it's kind of explored more through like telling Nathan's story and kind of getting people interested in it as well.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds neat. And then, are you thinking about are you thinking about the like alternative, like fake meat, or is that kind of not part of it? It's like, you know, you're just kind of going, you know, for your, let's say you do Meatless Monday, or you're pitching Meatless Mondays. It's just like you used to have a meat-based meal, and now you're going to have a vegetarian meal. You're not trying to like have a fake meat meal. I don't know why I had in my head fake meat, but maybe I just imagined it. Maybe it was something we discussed.
Well, that could come up in like the variety of different ways that he's like changed his eating habits. Like, for example, like I eat fake meat sometimes instead of real meat, or like I opt for no meat at all, or like, and fake meat
Yeah.
actually isn't that bad. Like 51% of people say that they don't have a preference between the two.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know what the status of the this is, but at some point I remember I've definitely read about it in like sci-fi books, like kind of like vat grown meat. So like meat cells that were like cultured from an animal at some point, but they're like, you know, they're grown into a steak or something like that. And it's like technically cow cells, but they've never been part of a living cow. My memory of early attempts at that is that like they tasted horrible and didn't look anything like an actual steak or taste anything like an actual steak. But I don't know what the
Yeah,
status
so
of
I
that stuff
saw,
is.
sorry, I saw like some data on it, and they're like, it's still like being developed, and it's probably going to be like super expensive for a long time. And also like in some surveys, it was like only like 3% of the participants in the survey said that they would try it, as
Yeah.
opposed to 70% for like plant-based meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's a long way
makes
out.
sense. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not a practical alternative in 2021. Yeah, plus it's actual, like it, you know, it actually is like for that approach, it's actually based on meat. So like, I don't know if that affects health or nutrition or what. And it's like, if one cat, like, I don't know, I'm focusing on beef, but if one cow was sacrificed to make all the like steak from then on that humanity consumed, then I don't know, that could be interesting, something to explore. Cool. Okay. It sounds like a neat story. Do you want to, would it help to talk through things? If you have a direction and everything's under, you know, going along, then, you know, I'm happy to be as involved or not involved as you would like. So another thing to think about, like in terms of optimizing, like, you know, there's if any of you are interested in like data science sorts of career trajectories, then you can use the projects that I've had students in the past use projects from this class as like kind of the start of a portfolio, like, you know, to send to, so some companies will like want to see your GitHub account, and like you can include projects from this class there. And then also, like, if if you want to showcase some particular skill, like let's say you wanted to work for Twitter, and Twitter is like, you know, really into like you want to work in the natural language processing group at Twitter. If you wanted to do some sort of text analysis or add a text analysis to one of your projects, like there's probably not time to do that super extensively in this class, but you know, if you reach out for, you know, if you want feedback on some direction you want to take a project or start a new data science project, I'm happy to, you know, chat about that. And it, you know, doesn't have to, it's not going to affect your grade for this class. You've already reached ceiling there anyway, but you know, I'm happy to be an ongoing resource. And if you're looking for like data science contacts, I'm happy to put you in touch with people, or, you know, whatever is useful in that sphere. I've done that with students in past years, and it works out well if I can be like, okay, well, like, you know, this student worked, like, here's a YouTube video of their, like, you know, a really cool data story they put together. Like, if you look at their GitHub page, they've like done this cool stuff. And then here's how I think it fits in with the like job ad that you're posting. And that's often like a successful formula because, you know, it's not just you saying like, okay, hire me. It's like, okay, well, you know, professor is saying, hire them, and then here's why. So, you know, something to consider. But.
In that line, something I've been like curious about is like, what kind of like data stories do you like to tell? Or like, what is your area of interest? Also on Wednesday, Lucy Owen came and talked to one of the other classes I'm in. I think that was her name.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So she
she's
works
a grad
with
student
you.
in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that also just kind of got me wondering, like more about like what you like to do.
Yeah. So my research is mainly on like memory, like how do you remember autobiographical events? Was it an fMRI class that she was talking about, or?
It was in PSYC 22, which is learning.
Oh, interesting.
But like we talk about memory in it too. But we had some researchers and like grad students come and talk to us about their experiences. Cool.
Yeah. So part of the way I think about memory is like, how do you communicate memories, and how do you, so that involves like, how do you teach? How do you, if you want to like teach someone a concept or communicate a concept, how do you like do that? How do you model that? How does your brain respond? So the like sorts of data stories I most often tell are like, you know, research based. So like, I think this is how some process works, and then I want to back that up with data. So it's often just, you know, like science data stories, I guess. Or like in the service of education. So like setting up a demo of like, one of my favorite types of stories is like interactive stories. So like set up, like, here's how your brain has electricity. And then if you stick this sensor on your brain, it like sends out numbers. Here's what the numbers are. And then if you like close your eyes, the numbers and the patterns change. So that's kind of cool. And then, you know, it could be a way to get, you know, get the community interested in science and the brain and stuff like that. So the NIH is a organization that funds most of the research in the US. And I'm working with them to like improve data visualization stuff. So like particularly dynamic visualizations. So I can actually send you a link to a workshop that I think it's probably free to attend. Or otherwise I could probably get you free attendance if you wanted it. But it's like, if you want to use animations to communicate ideas, like particularly in the like kind of health space. So it's the subset of the NIH that's running that workshop is the NIMH, National Institutes of Mental Health. So they're especially interested in mental health things. But you know, the ideas apply to a lot of different spheres. But so like, if you want to visualize different aspects of mental health, how do you, like, what are effective ways of doing that? How do you like, you know, so everything from how do you like actually implement these things to how do you use them to interpret what's going on and in the brain or someone's behavior, et cetera.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting stuff. Like I think like our brains are kind of set up to extract patterns from the world around us. And so I really see like data visualization as like exploiting your brain's ability to do that. So like the more we know about how the brain like processes and remembers information, the more like then we can start to leverage that and make more effective visualizations. Like what do you find because like the ideal is like you have some, I mean, just like you go about your life and like you kind of intuitively know like, okay, like this is an object, I can pick it up. Here's how I think it would feel if I were to touch it, but you don't even have to think about it consciously. It's just like all this, the way you process the world is kind of automatic. And like, I think the most effective data stories and visualization should have that feel to it. Like it's just totally intuitive, and like anything we can do to lower barriers to like having someone have to think about how to process something, like that's gonna, you know, make stories easier to digest and you know, make it more intuitive and reach wider audiences and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Something I've like realized as like progressing through college and just like getting older is like I think that like the true sign of like not just like intelligence, but like understanding and like good work is like making it and presenting it in a way that is like easy to understand, like easily digestible by like any kind of audience. Like I know growing up or like even at the beginning of college, like you think that like the most complicated graph or table, like if it's difficult, like that's what's most impressive. Like that shows like really good work. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like having something that's so, like you were just saying, intuitive is like so much more effective. And it doesn't mean that it's like dumb if it's easy to understand. Like that actually demonstrates like a high level of understanding if you're able to then like take all that complication stuff and like boil it down and like present it in a way that other people will be able to be like, oh wow, that's cool, and like I care about that, or you know, whatever the effect is you want to have.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think I mean, I think about this a lot related to teaching. Like, you know, learning should feel intuitive and frictionless, and like there's some aspects of learning that I think like particularly when you're like learning a totally new skill that's unrelated to everything else you've experienced, there's some aspects of learning that like there's some kind of friction or pain that might be necessary, but I think that's pretty rare. And like if like I think that, well, the way I think about it is like there's like an optimum of, there's like an ideal of what your brain needs to get told or see, or kind of what the input to your brain needs to be at one time, like at a particular moment, in order to like optimize what you could learn about something at that moment. And then there's like a mismatch between that kind of ideal and what you actually experience. And like I'm really interested in like how do you close that gap. And so I'm thinking about like if you had like an AI teacher that was like constantly modeling what someone knows and how they learn and what the best way to show someone is, could you like feed in just like what I want someone to know, and then have that like intelligent program tweak things to make it easier for that person to learn, and then like as you interact with it, adjust the strategy and the style. And yeah, and then you could imagine that for data visualization too. Like, okay, I see you're getting this out of what I show you. Like I show you pixels on the screen kind of moving or organized in a particular way. Like what information are you getting from that just naturally by looking at it? And then, you know, what your brain gets out of a visualization might be different from what I wanted you to get out of it. But if I can like close that gap, that's kind of the whole trick. And then like if you're showing an audience, like how do you close that gap for like as closely as possible for everyone, even though they're all seeing the same thing? Yeah. then like, do you want to cater your stuff to the average person, to the modal person, so that like as many people as possible, or like the median, or just, or you maybe weight different people's opinions differently, so you want to cater to the people that you think matter the most in that scenario. Like if you're pitching a product, like the people with the money or control to the money, maybe you want them to feel the best and get it the most. Yeah. Yeah, and I think your point about simplicity is really important, and like, I think that'll, as you transition out of Dartmouth and into like the real world, I think it becomes super important, because people aren't going to share your experiences and train, like there's going to be a bigger and bigger mismatch between your experiences and your audience's experiences as you like, move through life. And like simplicity is really so key. And like, okay, it's not just about making someone think you're smart. It's like, no, I want to actually get this information into someone else's brain. And what's the, like, you have to find the most efficient way of doing that. Like, they don't care about how smart you are. They care about, can they understand what the heck you're talking about? Cool. Yeah, so and if anyone's interested in the like how the NIH is thinking about this stuff, I'm happy to, I can paste the link to that workshop in Slack. I'm pretty sure it's free registration, but if it's not, then let me know and I'll get you free registration.
Yeah, definitely. That would be really cool.
Cool. Yeah. I'll also, other fun thing, like, the New York Times has a great data science group, and like 538 has they do really cool stuff. So they're like, the groups at the cutting edge of this stuff are like really like, just, it's just a cool area of innovation, just watching how the new stuff is visualized. Like, there was like the election needle in the 2016 election that the New York Times came up with. I don't know if you remember the 2016 election, but like that needle was it was like so effective at conveying the suspense and everything's updating. And they brought it back for the 2020 election. And that was, I think, a breakthrough in how to visualize that type of information. Yeah, and all kinds of neat stuff happening. So, okay, well, so let's see. So we're not going to have class on Monday because it's Memorial Day. So I hope you all have a really awesome long weekend, and hopefully you'll get a break of some sort. And then on Wednesday, hopefully we'll discuss the last story, and then we'll wrap up. If there are closing thoughts or discussions you want to have, I'm happy to, if there's something, okay, I really wanted to know about this thing and we haven't talked about it so far, then we can talk about it on the last day. And yeah, other than that, we'll kind of wrap things up. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. See you, everyone.